Greetings, everyone. We have made it to episode 6. Wow. One episode after 5. Episode 5 was a barn burner, wasn't it? Well, let's see. To celebrate 6, we'll go with the 6 car of Hall of Famer Mark Martin. But the real question is, which Mark do we choose? Do we choose something more recent? Nah, how about maybe classic 90s? Or turn of the century Mark? Oh, I know. We'll go with the little blue pill Mark. Nothing more entertaining than making silly jokes at Mark Martin's sponsor in the early 2000s. A man in his mid-40s driving as if he was in his prime. Of course, the joke being he took the little blue pill. Jokes aside, he was one of the most physically fit drivers at the time, actively working out and doing more exercise in a day than most drivers did in a year. So what we have here is Hot Wheels Racing's Diecast for Mark Martin's 2004 Viagra Ford Taurus for Roush Racing. In 2004, he raked up 10 top 5s, 15 top 10s, and a win at Dover with an overall 4th place points finish. Unfortunately for Mark, he was an extremely great driver when other extremely stellar drivers were in the sport. He never got his championship, finishing 2nd in points 5 times. His last one at the age of 50. That's how good a shape Mark Martin was. This Hot Wheels Racing diecast was made for adults, hence the sticker on the box here, as well as the Viagra sponsor on the car. This was uncommon territory for Hot Wheels to market solely to adults. So the kid buyer of this car had Pfizer on the hood instead, Pfizer being the pharmaceutical company that manufactures Viagra. Since his adult car is kind of uncommon, I somehow bought this as a kid, I'm going to keep it in the box, and will instead be checking out the more common kid-friendly vehicle. This plastic package is from a third-party company, and it's great for protecting cars that have no package. It's the same kind of plastic packaging that could be found in a Gold Series car today. You can pick these up by searching Amazon or eBay or a hobby shop. Look for 1/64th scale PVC plastic sleeves. They're terrific. Now, let's get this car out of the box. The front features of the Ford Taurus's refreshed front end from the oval grille is now squared off at the edges. The hood has a nice glossy sheen with pleasing shapes. As well, the blue oval on the hood is meant to mimic the shape of a little blue pill. As we move on over to the side, you'll see just how glossy this car is. Hot Wheels was known for their extremely glossy and hard-to-chip diecasts. These cars were made with very high-quality materials in the mid to early 2000s, and they looked great. They were very much like the vibrancy of the cars during this era. Hot Wheels really captured it with their diecasts. We see here in the contingency sponsors that a Nextel Cup badge is in here. 2004 was the inaugural season of NASCAR and Nextel partnering as the corporate sponsor. The number 6 nicely swirls in a pleasing blue. A white swoop, almost vaguely similar to the 6 itself, slides up the A-pillar and showcases Mark's name above the door frame. As we follow the black paint to the rear, it reads again Pfizer. While on the deck lid, it has a logo for Mark Martin's Salute to You Farewell Tour logo. It was meant to highlight his many accomplishments in what was meant to be his last season in NASCAR. Little did they know that Roush screwed up and they didn't have a driver for the following year, so Mark said he would stay another year. That ended up with Mark remaining full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series till 2011 and doing almost full schedules until 2013. He would finally stop racing in Cup at the age of 54. He was truly unfazed by age, and no, he was not taking the Viagra. Stop being an 11-year-old. The other side of the car is equally as good, and the car features a plastic chassis and plastic tires. With Hot Wheels making some of their best diecasts to date, no one would have expected them to bow out entirely of NASCAR diecasts in just a handful of years. This car is really great. Solid. And even though it has a plastic chassis, it does have a nice bit of weight to it. The glossy paint is personal preference. Some like it, some don't. I personally love it, and it matched the style of paint jobs NASCAR did back then. Actual paint, and not just wraps which we see done today, which lack that glossy paint shine. So I think that about wraps it up with our detailed look at the 6 car, driven by none other than Mark Martin, an ageless driver who raced his heart out for over 31 years in the Cup Series, racking up 40 wins over his career. He was a stellar performer and one of the best drivers on the track. Unfortunately, he was the best when others were just slightly better. That's all for this episode. I'm AJ. This was a Diecast, and this is the end. Goodbye.